everybody, and welcome in to Blue Jays Today, where we are officially on Kyle Tucker watch. It was reported by Jon Heyman earlier this morning that Kyle Tucker could sign today. Now, he later came out and said that he believes it could also happen tomorrow. However, he's confident that a deal should get done. I believe it was before the weekend.
Today or tomorrow, essentially.
Today or tomorrow, essentially. Now, and again, he could be wrong. There's no deadline to all of this stuff, so who knows? Kyle Tucker could theoretically take until next week or, hell, even next month. But the word on the street certainly feels like Tucker decision soon.
Yeah.
We are watching along because I've spent effectively all of today just refreshing Twitter.
Yeah.
I imagine a lot of you folks have as well. So we're going to go over everything that's been talked about, released, discussed, give our overall 2 cents on it, and then just sit here and refresh Twitter with all of you, hoping that something happens.
Yeah, why refresh Twitter alone when we can all do it together when nothing's happening? And hopefully we're alive for as long as it takes until he eventually signs. If nothing's happening, we'll hop off, and you guys know the drill. We'll hop right back on again, and we'll be live covering wherever he goes. But right now, like you kind of brought up, we're just waiting. It could be today, as we got this morning, or it could be tomorrow, and that is the latest update. Dan Bartles quoting what Jon Heyman said on MLB Network, saying that Tucker's decision might go into tomorrow. Yeah, and like you said, Tucker doesn't really, Jon Heyman doesn't really know what's exactly going through the mind of Kyle Tucker. He might know somebody who knows his camp, who obviously works with Kyle Tucker, and through the grapevine he can receive these reports that they're coming close to a decision pretty soon, and he can have an educated guess. He's been doing this for a very long time, very professional guy, but ultimately we don't know, so it could happen at any moment.
I think that the inner workings of that circle are realizing that we're coming to a head. And I've got to imagine that New York, LA, wherever they are in these sweepstakes, we haven't really heard too much about the Dodgers, but they're the Dodgers and they're always going to be there. And also Toronto, we got to be getting close to our final offers here, folks.
Right. Yeah, let's talk about that, because we were kind of just briefly discussing as we were setting up for this live stream. What does this mean, the fact that we are taking a long time to you? What does it mean to you?
Yeah, I actually don't know. I was thinking about this just in the washroom a couple minutes ago. I was like, what does this actually mean?
Yeah,
because we've had all winter to figure this out. Are we still going back and forth between teams right now from Tucker's side of things and trying to get a better offer? Are people still upping their offer? Because you heard the stuff from the New York Mets, and again, this is just pure speculation on my part, but are you about to go higher than $50 million for 4 years, $200 million?
You mean like the Dodgers?
Feels the Mets is what I'm saying.
Mets.
Yeah.
See, a lot of people feel like
a finishing final offer.
I mean, Soto's AAV was $51 million. So, are you gonna go higher than Juan Soto? I don't know.
Right? So
probably not.
If that's the case, are you still waiting on Toronto to give you a better offer? Because I would imagine that the second that offer came to your table, you would have gone to Toronto and said, this is the offer, give me a better offer. And then it would have been up to Toronto to say, well, we're staying firm at where we're at, or here's the new number. So where is the hold?
I think that could be exactly what that is. I mean, when let's go backwards, a couple days ago, and when they released the numbers for Kyle Tucker came through the media, we kind of assumed that was, Tucker's camp getting a little bit of leverage, trying to use them as leverage for either Toronto Blue Jays or the Dodgers, whatever they be. That was our speculation. A lot of people kind of felt like that. That's why those numbers being released and not the Dodgers and not Toronto. So maybe right now they're probably going back and forth between the other two teams right now. What do you got for me, Toronto? What do you got for me, Dodgers? And, again, I said this before, Kyle Tucker's waited this far or this long to finally get into a little bit of a bidding war, because that wasn't happening before. He's going to take his time and I guess weigh out his options and wait to see what of the teams respond.
See, for me, I think that this is because you think about, I don't think that Toronto is just sitting back and waiting and be like, oh, we're going to get back to you. We're thinking about a new offer.
I think they got an offer ready.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident if
they've had a lot of time to think about it.
Speculating about this, the offers are on the table.
Right.
And if we're reaching our final offers right here, then I guess, like, what is the holdup? Is it really just coming down to, like, is it this close for Kyle Tucker? Is it, are we talking like he's really weighing the pros and the cons here? We got a pro list and we got a con list. We're going through all of this. Is that ultimately what's happening right now? We're just sitting and waiting for him to decide, and this is a lot closer of a race than I think any of us thought it was. Is that what's happening, or is it truly that there is still numbers being exchanged and figures being exchanged and people are going back and forth? Like,
or it could be like maybe they're just crossing their T's, dotting their I's right now. Like maybe they got a good idea on what they want and they're gonna finalize it before his big birthday bash this Saturday. Shout out and early birthday to Kyle Tucker. Hopefully you're Toronto Blue Jay by then. But yeah, like maybe they're just finalizing some little details. Like maybe it's done already and we don't already know and it's not released to the public. So we're just kind of waiting and seeing right now. But, it is kind of interesting that a lot of people online, and there was a couple radio hosts out there, one guy in particular that was talking about from the New York side of things, that like, all their media, like they are confident that they are going to get Kyle Tucker. And even saw some betting sites kind of swinging like the odds for Kyle Tucker because, betting sites are determined based on what people are betting on. And a lot of sites now have the New York Mets as the favorites. So you've seen a lot of like kind of confidence over there on that side of things to happen tonight.
Now, eh?
That's on some sites.
That's actually a little scary for me because I do trust the money, and whilst certainly there is an element of what people are betting on that will impact things, I mean, a lot of the times like Vegas will stick true to their guns. I actually follow a couple. I follow a couple like betting things, and they'll tell me it's like, hey, all the money is on this side, but Vegas is still lowering the other line just because they believe in it so much. It is scary to me to now start hearing that they are thinking Tucker to the Mets might be the favorite.
And look, and I don't want to bring back cross comparisons, but it is giving me a lot of similar vibes where right before Ohtani went with the Dodgers, the day before, obviously the playing thing happened, but all the betting sites were Blue Jays. It was all Blue Jays, and it flipped. And then he went back to Dodgers. Because why? Because things were starting to leak out. Forget the playing thing. Other than that, things were leaking out that the Blue Jays were making these big offers. They have the number one offer on the table. And that's right now what the New York Mets are doing.
Well, and I do still think that all of this stuff coming out from the New York Mets side, I think that's good for Toronto. Because ultimately, you're not hearing offers coming out from Toronto and you're not hearing offers coming out from LA. And I'm believing that's because those two teams aren't the ones being leveraged, but actually New York is the one that's being leveraged right now, with the overall goal from Kyle Tucker to then effectively incentivize Toronto and or LA to up their offer based on what they're hearing coming out from the New York Mets side of things. So I like that we haven't heard too much about where Toronto's at from a monetary standpoint. It scares me a little bit that LA is still lurking because I totally could imagine seeing that update coming from my phone. Tucker, 3-year deal, Dodgers, 160. Like that, I can visualize it. Because I've seen it fucking before.
Seen it so many times
before. So I can definitely believe that. But I do like that Toronto's offers aren't necessarily getting leaked right now.
Now, I do wonder where the Dodgers are. I want to get to that thought in just a moment because I did just see a dono here from Chris saying, if the Jays get Tucker, I'd love to hear his thoughts on why he chose the Jays, considering how long this decision has been. Well, I guarantee you one thing. If Kyle Tucker signs with the Blue Jays, we'll cover the presser because that's a pretty damn big contract that he would sign. But to kind of, thank you, by the way, for the 699 dono. But to kind of go back to the Dodgers conversation, I wonder what their offer would be because they're kind of in the same camp as the Mets where they want to do a, low-term, high AAV. Are they going to have to beat the $50 million per year? Is that what they're going to have to do? And by the way, the Mets offer apparently had no deferrals. That's apparently the rumor. And all the Dodgers have been doing are deferrals to all these contracts. That's why they're getting all these great players because they have so many deferrals. Well, if they're going to offer deferrals, well, could Tucker not like that? Like, I'm not sure, right? Like maybe he wants to get the money now and then do, if he was going to go down that short AAV or short-term high AV route, he just want to get the money now and then go back to free agency. We'll see. But yeah, I wonder if they would even be able to beat that, the $50 million.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The benefit for LA is obviously it is LA. Now, some people have been saying that that's actually a negative for Kyle Tucker, and I don't know how much how much you
LA?
can take of this. Yes, because of the whole narrative surrounding how Tucker's a low-key guy and he likes low-key places.
That gets me so heated. Keep going, but that gets me so heated.
Well, that's one of the latest narratives to come out, and it came from John Heyman, but then a few various other insiders have been talking about this, where some people that are close to Kyle Tucker have indicated that he might prefer Toronto because it's more of a low-key vibe. I'm paraphrasing right here.
Right.
But this is actually John Heyman on MLB Network said that Tucker's decision might go into tomorrow. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
This is, but from the Cubs and Astros are guessing that he prefers Toronto because it's less intense. I mean,
so funny. Maybe it's less intense. Maybe.
Maybe, and maybe he does prefer a place that's a little bit less intense. But I mean, like you're telling me that Houston, like they love their fucking ball down there, man. You're telling me that where he his literal come up in the Astros and was less intense.
Yeah, and his expectations to go to the World Series and compete every single year in the American League, like that wasn't intense. Like and again, like, the part that gets me heated too is the whole narrative of like some people keep throwing this out there, like he might be the next Anthony Rendon because he's not motivated and we don't know how long he wants to play baseball
whole bunch
for.
Of bullshit.
Like I mean, like how do you possibly know this?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, maybe if you're his best friend and he's told you, yeah, man, you know what, I want to
getting the payday.
I just want to get
out.
Yeah, and I'm getting out of here. Okay, sure, but like, how could you possibly know that he's not motivated? And that's what people have been saying. Like, that's why he doesn't want to do a long term because he wants to get his quick money and get out.
That doesn't make any fucking sense.
He's the most consistent baller of that we've seen in a long time. Like his entire career has been so consistent.
That makes
that's work.
sense.
You gotta put work. You gotta put work into
a longer term deal. If the whole narrative is he's lazy and like he doesn't care about the game. Well then if that's the truth, wouldn't you want to sign a long term deal, position yourself, get a new home, and just sit back and put your feet up? And who gives a fuck anymore?
Yeah, that's what Anthony Rendon did.
That's literally what Anthony Rendon. I don't understand where that narrative is coming from at all. That feels like such media speak, and like maybe somebody I genuinely don't even know how that would have even gotten started. Everything that I've seen is that Kyle Tucker is a lover of baseball and is very good at it.
We did get a Bob Nightingale tweet, and this one isn't actually a troll from the comments. I just saw it on my phone.
Also, I mean, like, totally, it's really funny. You guys are saying Bob Nightingale, but it's not actually Bob Nightingale. But we are trying to follow along with what is transpiring right now, so we do appreciate it when you guys tell us when there is actually something that is new here. Now, Steve Cohen tweeted out himself. Holy dude, we're in a fucking simulation.
Dude, Steve Cohen said, "Let me know when you see smoke." Does that scare you?
Yes, actually.
That actually kind of scares me. That actually kind of scares me a little bit.
That actually.
Why would he be tweeting that? You know. Unless he's trolling. But does Steve troll?
No. He's a billionaire. Like this was, I mean, if he like that's embarrassing for him if he puts that out there and then Tucker doesn't come there, right? That's embarrassing.
Ooh. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all, actually. But what does that mean? Like, what does that even mean?
Bob Nightingale throwing his 2 cents in here, saying Mets owner Steve Cohen waiting for Kyle Tucker decision. Is he waiting or is he flexing? You know, which one is it? I got a little bit of flex in there. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, what is that even fucking?
Let me know when you see. Dude, it's like when I'm rolling up to the club and I'm like, "Yo, let me know when you see an absolute baller right here." I don't know. You know, like this guy. I don't know. Is he flexing? Like.
I'm literally about to ask ChatGPT, what is this? What could this mean?
Look it up. My interpretation is like, I don't know, like, because smoke, when there's smoke, there's fire. Like, I don't know. Unless, because obviously he's got to know what's going on. Let's look it up. We're ChatGPTing this. Tell me when there's a sign that's something actually happening. Okay.
So he's just waiting too?
But that's the thing. I was like, wouldn't he know? Wouldn't you know?
Okay, so listen, AI, and for those of you that hate AI, sorry. I mean, I know that AI is kind of slop and everything, but at the end of the day, we're trying to get to the truth here. Effectively, it's saying, don't update me on rumors or noise. let me know when there's real proof or a concrete development. So are you telling me that Steve Cohen is getting baited as well right now?
Like, wouldn't Steve Cohen be involved though?
Yeah,
you know,
brother, I think he would be the first one to know when there's smoke. I mean,
that's why I'm saying that's why I interpret it as a flex, because like he would know. You know, I don't know. Well, that's Steve Cohen coming out, and I don't know. You chat. You let me know. Maybe we'll run a poll. But like, chat, does he know something, or does he genuinely don't know something? You guys let us know. We got a dono in here from Andrew Wimber with a $10 dono. Thank you, Andrew, saying, "Come on, Tucker, you're stressing me out. Let's go." Yeah,
I'm a little stressed out as well. I mean, look, if the whole thing that he just put out there is, well, let me know when something's happening. It just doesn't. Why would you say that?
I don't know. Cohen. That's what I'm saying. He obviously knows.
Unless you're feeling good,
you're feeling hot
about what's like.
You're feeling hot.
I don't.
You're feeling
man.
hot.
That's actually not nice for me. Where's Ross Atkins' a Twitter account?
Yo, Ross, get out there and tweet
Ross,
at him.
We need Ross Atkins. Like, and
you got the smoke, but we got the fire.
You know what would feed families is a Ross Atkins, Steve Cohen Twitter beef.
Oh my God!
Can you imagine?
Ross Atkins needs to get Twitter, man. He's got to tune out all the haters. But you know, like if he gets Twitter, that'd be the most hilarious thing ever. You know, and then he'll be like, let's say he had Twitter in November and he was openly tweeting, and he's like, he got Dylan Cease and he's getting Cody Ponce. He just tweets out, "I'm cooking," in like lowercase. That would definitely feed families.
Shout out here to Ann Beacock, who just sent one Blue Jays Today gifted membership. Thank you very much right there. And to Otis with a $2 donation. I need Ed Rogers to respond right now.
Yeah, or Ed Rogers. Get Ed Rogers out there responding.
Yeah, dude, that feels and I know that the whole, like, Bob Nightingale saying, "Oh, we're waiting. We're like Steve Cohen's waiting just like us," but
what would he be waiting for?
How often does Steve Cohen tweet? Does he tweet regularly about this shit? No, the last time he tweeted was December 19th. So he never, well, he doesn't never tweet, but he very rarely tweets anything.
Yeah, he tweeted like 4 things in the last 6 months.
To come out now, obviously he knows what he's doing. Obviously he's aware of the situation.
Right.
Can somebody go back and look? Did he tweet about shit when Juan Soto signed?
Here's how I'm now interpreting it. He doesn't know.
Right.
Because Kyle Tucker and his camp isn't responding to his messages. Because they're talking to the Blue Jays.
That's good.
You know what? Steve's like, "What the hell? I thought we were tight. I thought you liked my $200 million for 4 years." By the way, that's apparently the contract.
If you take it at just face value,
guys,
I guess, but that feels wildly embarrassing to be tweeting that out. If you're getting left on red by Kyle Tucker's agency.
But you also got to think about it. He's also like, a dad. He's just like, when you got your dads and your grandparents and they're trying to work technology, and he's just like, I'm just going to express my thoughts. I don't really think about what this means.
See, this is why I'm getting sick and tired of this. Because we're trying to dissect Steve Cohen's tweet. Can you just make a goddamn decision, please, Kyle Tucker? I'm begging you, dude. This is not healthy for me. This is not good.
I know. And look, I'm spending my Thursday evening with all you lovely people. Shout out to the 1,400 people in here. You guys are absolutely crazy, and we love you guys. But like, we're spending our Thursday evenings, all 1,400 of us, staring at this tweet, dissecting what it means in the chat. Like, this is the community I love, by the way. This is great. But can we just get a decision already?
I know, we need it.
Can we go?
This is getting ludicrous at this point. Lord Kronos here with a $13.99 donation saying the funniest thing would be if the Blue Jays managed to snipe him within the next 24 hours. That would be the biggest FU to the Mets. That's what I'm thinking, and that's why, like, when I see a tweet like this, I'm actually rather nervous about it, because Steve Cohen doesn't want to get embarrassed. He doesn't want to be made to look like a fool.
Right.
And now if in the next 60 minutes Kyle Tucker signs with the Toronto Blue Jays, Twitter is going to eat him alive.
Oh yeah.
And all of the Toronto Blue Jay fans are going to we're going to be posting, you know, like the fire gifs and smoke gifs. He's going to get Mets fans are going to be like, what the fuck was this?
And that sucks if that happens. But you're right. I think you're leaning more towards like it must mean something.
It must mean something also, because if you're going to put that out there, you got to be feeling really good. Because the risk versus reward here, what's the, like, ultimately, the risk is higher than the reward. The risk is you get clowned into oblivion for the next month and a bit until baseball comes again. And the reward is what? You hype up a couple Mets fans? So
I don't know.
I'm only taking that risk if I'm feeling really good that this is going to pay off. That's why I don't like it.
Maybe we're obviously overthinking it.
This is what you were playing into his fucking hand.
I know.
This is what he wants.
I actually think he's just like this dad. How old is Steve Cohen? He's got to be like north of 50 for sure.
Oh, yeah, like 60 100%, maybe. Yeah, probably older than that, man. I'd say I'm going to guess right now that Steve Cohen is 68 years old.
Oh Lord!
I'm guessing. I'm just.
I believe it. 69.
Oh, that's pretty close, though. That's pretty close.
Obviously, my grandfather's not a billionaire, but if my grandfather at 69 years old, he's not 69, but if he was 69 years old, actually, oh my gosh, my parents are almost getting up there. Shut them. Making tweets. I don't know if they'll know the implications of the things. I don't know. I'm leaning towards more. He's just kind of like enjoying the
ride, like
enjoying the ride, just like we all are. And actually, I'm buying in. Oh my God, people are quote tweeting it.
Of course,
or like making graphics. I'm buying into the fact that I think he ain't getting no more phone calls from Kyle Tucker's camp. I'm thinking he's thinking, what the heck, Kyle? Well, I thought we were bros.
I'll tell you what, man. This might. Like, this sounds to me a little bit, now we were off the top talking about where people could be at, what could be the holdup, XYZ. Now I'm thinking that everybody's done their final offer. Toronto's given him the business. LA's given him the business. Steve has given him the business. Because, hey, maybe this is a negotiating tactic from Steve Cohen as well.
Yeah.
Like, let's think about this from a Steve Cohen and in relation to the Kyle Tucker and his everything, okay? This is effectively him saying, hey guys, we're not going any higher, right? Like, let me know, let me know when we hear something, because like we're at the top right now. We've reached this is where we're at. You're not going to get any more freaking money out of us. This is where we are. Let me know when you come to a decision. I'll be waiting. I don't know. Maybe so. If that's the case, if we're all at our final offers, maybe it genuinely just is Kyle Tucker right now with his friends and family with a notepad doing the pros and the cons, and he's just really thinking about this.
And that's where I'm at right now, because again, like, I'll reiterate what I said before for those who are just joining in. I truly believe that this is, the only time Kyle Tucker's gotten to a real serious back and forth between teams. And like the entire offseason, the reason why nothing was moving is because no one was offering the money he wanted. So he had to wait, lower his expectations, get the Mets and the Dodgers on board. And now, finally, he has some back and forth. So now he's taking the time to weigh out the options.
Yeah, that genuinely could be it, folks. Shout out to the 1,500 people that are watching right now as we dissect Steve Cohen's cryptic tweet right now. If you haven't already done so, please hit that smash that subscribe button, guys. We're going to be covering all of this regardless of if we get him or not. We're following along with the Toronto Blue Jays. We do this full time as a job, and we do really appreciate all the support that we get from this amazing community. You guys are the best. Let's also get some percentages in the chat right now. Where are you at that he signs with the Toronto Blue Jays? Earlier today, I was sitting at a 60% chance. Now that the sports books are moving, now that Steve Cohen is cryptically tweeting, I'm dropping it down. I'm not feeling as confident right now. And if it is true that, and this is speculation on my part, but if it is true that everybody's at their final offer,
right,
and he's really going back and forth on this, then you have to imagine it's a lot closer to a coin flip than leaning one way or the other. Because if he was leaning one way or the other, Well, you would have fucking signed already, right?
I hear you. I hear you. So maybe we're, I don't know. Again, because it all comes down to the long term versus the short term, and he's really got to weigh it out. And hopefully he's had enough time to figure it out at this point. He's not figuring it out right now, and he's just coming down to, like you said, that pros and cons list. Also, shout out to Ari Pie. Just sent me Edward Rogers does have a Twitter, I think. If this is legit, he only has like 3,500 followers.
Get tweeting, man.
He hasn't tweeted since 2024.
If you tweet right now, I promise you will blow up, Edward Rogers. That's my social media advice to you.
Dude, he would blow up like crazy. His last 3 tweets came in 2024 in July, 2023 in November, and then 2023 in September. Wow.
Not the most active right there.
Not active.
I see a lot of people in the chat with their percentages, and we are all over the place. I know that we have a question to get to, and we also may have a guest joining us shortly, which is really cool. But before we get into all of that, I did just see somebody say in the chat, shout out to Joseph Gallo right here, talk to Bellinger as a backup plan. Recently, we haven't really been discussing at all the backup plan of things. Do you think that they even actually do? Like, let's just say that he ends up being a New York Met and he's there for 4 years and it is what it is.
Right.
And then there's still Bo and then there's still Cody Bellinger on the market. Are we actually going to pivot at this point? I feel like we've been so eggs in the basket of Kyle Tucker. It feels weird almost to watch us, to see them go and pivot immediely like that.
I would expect them to at least entertain it. I think you'd be not doing your job if you didn't, because, we've looked at this team, envisioned Kyle Tucker. I think we would throw what we think, Cody Bellinger is worth and what Bo Bichette is worth. I actually don't think that the Blue Jays value Mr. Bellinger as much as maybe the Yankees or other teams might value him, because the Blue Jays love the consistency. They love the contact. Bellinger had a really great year, but he hasn't had too many of those, back-to-back, whereas Kyle Tucker has. So I don't know. It's a weird one. I know in the past we've been looking at him, but we were looking at him as like a 1 year prove it kind of thing. Now he's looking for the big time deals. I don't know if they want to commit to that. We'll see. What about you? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I think that they're, again, it just feels like they are so out on Bo Bichette at this point, and that largely has to do with the fact that they are so in on Kyle Tucker. But if I'm, and I brought this up in a previous podcast, if I'm Bo Bichette, I'm kind of ruling out Toronto at this point. Maybe I would happily use them as leverage, but if I'm Bo, I'm feeling just a tad bit disrespected that you're not in on me really at all at this current juncture. That's what it feels like from the outside. So maybe Toronto tries, but I certainly don't feel good about our chances of getting anyone else after.
Yeah.
I don't think we're getting Bo, even if Tucker goes to the New York Mets.
Yeah, like maybe it just feels weird because we're just so locked on to him that we can't picture anything else, and it feels like the offseason is basically over, and it's like we spent all this time doing that. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to, you know what, we'll just cross that bridge when we get there.
Well, hopefully we won't have to cross that bridge. I guess
the
where I'm sitting right now, the point I'm trying to make is, if we miss on Kyle Tucker, I'm definitely not feeling good that we're going to get one of those other two at this current juncture.
We'll look, because I've heard speculation. This does make a lot of sense that Cody Bellinger's camp's actually waiting for Kyle Tucker to sign, because he is the clear and obvious pivot, another lefty outfield bat, similar age, you know what I mean? Like, he hits some pop, whatever. So people are kind of thinking like, oh, he's waiting for Tucker to sign, because then immediately it's not just the Yankees looking at Bellinger. Now it could be one of two of the Blue Jays, Dodgers, or Mets.
And that makes sense. Maybe there's more of a market that materializes after Kyle Tucker leaves the board. Certainly could be. We do have a couple donations in here very quickly. Mr. Julius saying with a $6.99, thank you very much to you. I wouldn't rule out a return to shortstop for Barger if the Jays sign Tucker. Hadn't really thought about that, just because Jimenez feels like the locked-in guy there, defensively speaking. Barger will have to bounce around, though, so it's not impossible that maybe he plays a game there or something, but I definitely don't think that would become his primary position.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, unless maybe there's this thing, like, if Jimenez gets hurt, then Ernie goes play shortstop. I think he's way further down the pecking order of like who would play shortstop for the Blue Jays. Like, maybe he's like third or fourth or something like that. Maybe they bring him a minor league call up, maybe like Leo Jimenez. But like, I think primarily he's gonna be corner outfield, like left field, or third base split when Okamoto gets here. We'll see what we do.
Likely.
Yeah.
Lord Kronos also with another donation. W's in the chat. You, dude, you're going crazy. I truly believe this is a scare tactic to force a bidding war. Let's see what Rogers want. Let's see what Rogers want, how bad he wants it. I assume you mean how bad Edward Rogers wants this. I truly believe that this is a scare tactic. If Bo is gone, let's leave it to Atkins. Thank you for the donation, dude. We appreciate that. We are going to have a guest joining us.
Let me just check real quick. If he's in here, he is not in here yet, but he'll come in eventually.
That'll be awesome. Now, people are saying Heyman. I will check, but I kind of doubt that it's actually going to be anything.
That's the thing. I've got all of their Twitter accounts on noties, so I would receive something.
Yeah, I think what is transpiring is everybody is just sitting and waiting for Kyle Tucker, who is also likely just going back and forth on what it is that he's got to figure out what he wants, man. He's got to figure out what he wants.
Yeah, like I would hope he had an idea of where he preferred to go first, because if he didn't, then yeah, like he would be taking quite a while. Like, oh, now I got to look at what I am being offered. Because at the end of the day, money does talk. But I would hope that he would have a preference in that regards. If it came down to like being very, very close to you financially wise, I'd hope you'd have a preference. But we got a mailbag question here. I'm bringing this back up. So if you guys want to ask us a question, because the chat is just going crazy and it's just flying right now. If you want to ask us a question, go into our description. We have a Google Forms that you can submit your own question. Also, too, on Fridays, we have a Blue Jays Today show every single Friday during the offseason at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We also do mailbags, but we also get you guys send in videos and audio recordings that will play here on the show for everybody of your questions. So if you want to do that, record yourself, send it in via there. We got a question here from Rodeo 2 saying, as the Kyle Tucker sweepstakes keep going, is there any chance he could be using us as leverage? I didn't think this was a possibility earlier in the offseason, but now I'm beginning to wonder. Thank you. Something interesting, because we always thought, like we were talking about recently, is the Mets being used as leverage. Any chance that we are being used as leverage?
Of course, there is definitely a chance. I mean, look, it's happened more times than it hasn't happened. Yep. So, yeah, definitely could be happening.
But we do know the signs of leverage, and it feels like the Mets are the sign of a leverage right now. But again, why didn't Kyle Tucker sign earlier? It probably is because, in my opinion, there wasn't enough competition or in the same ballpark as the Blue Jays with the longevity of the contract. That's my opinion. But, there is the other argument. Well, if the Blue Jays offered you a contract, why not just take it?
I also think, too, that being used as leverage, like, there can be a couple things happening at one time, which is you can be getting used as leverage whilst he also is seriously considering going there. Right? Like, I think that he could be serious about all three of the teams that are in his sweepstakes, but they're also inherently being played off of one another. So if you end up losing on the sweepstakes, well, then it feels like we were only ever just being used as leverage, and he never wanted to come.
Right. I don't think I agree with you. I don't think that's true.
I think that he is serious about the possibility of coming to Toronto, but yeah, they're also being used as leverage, just as the Mets are being used as leverage, whilst he also might still be serious about coming here. Like, at the end of the day, Ohtani probably preferred the Dodgers. Yeah. But he had telling me that he also didn't think about Toronto being a legitimate thing. I guarantee, and he's come out and said it afterwards, and if we were to, I think Ohtani's a relatively, I don't think he's going to lie about this. He said that he was seriously thinking about it, and they gave him some promising stuff. I think that Kyle Tucker's the same way. So, yes, we are being used as leverage. Yes, we are also being seriously considered by Kyle Tucker.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, the number one team for Kyle Tucker is Kyle Tucker. And Kyle Tucker wants to get the best bag and the best place to play. And he's trying to use all these teams to get the best contract for himself. We got a dono here from Super Kane with a $2 dono. Thank you so much, my man. Saying, can Tucker sign after today, or is today the last shot? Well, he can sign. He could sign in June. He won't, but he could take as long as he possibly wants. The reason why everyone's saying today is because John Heyman came out and said earlier this morning that today could be the day. He said could give himself a back door out of here, because in case he doesn't sign. But now he's saying before the weekend, maybe tomorrow. So either today or tomorrow, potentially.
How do you feel? Because there's been a big discourse online recently with Tucker waiting as long as he has and with Bo waiting as long as he has, Bregman just signing. How do you feel about MLB free agency as a whole? Because the discourse online is that this kind of sucks, that we have to, like, there's no time frame, there's no deadline, there is a beginning, obviously, but this could go forever, whereas a lot of other leagues have a window and it's from here to here.
Yeah.
This is where you sign. The more that this goes on, I do like that there's a longer period where we can be checking in on these things, and there's not a complete and utter dead period of the offseason for baseball where there is for certain other sports. With NFL, for instance, like free agency comes and then in a week everyone's gone and we're on our way again.
Yeah.
But I do, like, this is also getting ridiculous at the same time.
It kind of goes down to it kind of links in with the upcoming CBA, where it's like this format gives players the most leverage because you can wait as long as possible until it's coming to spring training, and I'm a team and I need you on my team right now because we got to go. Like I got guys flying to Florida and Arizona right now. We got to go. So then maybe I throw out that offer and I get it going. So but it's entertaining, but it's also frustrating because I will say the off season would be very boring. I'm trying to think of the other side of things. It'd be very boring if it was 1 week. It would be an intense week. It's like trade deadline. But then after that, it's like, okay, well, at least from a content creator standpoint, what are we going to talk about?
I get that. I do get that. I don't think I would be wanting to change it to a 1 week formula or format here. I don't think that would be the case, but I do think having some element of a deadline would be good. And I also don't think that, because some people have came out, I think it might have even been Trevor Plouffe that was talking about saying, you're going to take all the leverage away from the players if you do that. I don't think that's true at all. Because now, like, in an instance like Kyle Tucker, I mean, the bidding war would just continue to go right up until the very last second. And, the Mets offered this thing at the last second. There's Toronto going over the top at the final moment. You'd still have that element of things.
I'll meet in the middle, and I hope that I think players would even want this too. Why don't you have we talked about this off camera. Why don't you have a hard deadline at January 31st? And then it's like, okay, there's a 2-week buffer period between that and pitchers and catchers reporting. That's reasonable.
That feels we have all the time. How many more fucking months do you need to make your decision? I don't know. More time to think about this?
I don't know. But also here, a quick shout out. We're gonna bring our guest in just in a moment. But shout out to R.A. Pie with a $6.99 dono. Thank you very much. Saying how long you guys gonna be live for? As long as you guys want us to be live for, we'll keep chatting and having this conversation all night long.
If Steve Cohen is cryptically tweeting, then I guess we're gonna have to sit and we're gonna have to talk about it. So that's just the reality of the situation.
Yes, it is. Now, I'm flipping over right here to check. Yes, he is. Everybody, welcome one of the hosts of Off the Roster. Please welcome our good buddy, Dan. Welcome in, Dan. Are you in a library right now, my friend?
Kind of looks like it.
We're making a makeshift studio right now. I had to go into my condo building's library to make this happen this moment.
Hey, you know what? I appreciate you because I texted you right before this, just be ready in case anything happened. Obviously, nothing's happening right now. We got some weird, like Nick saying, cryptic messages from Steve Cohen talking about smoke. Let me just get your 2 cents here, Dan. What are your inputs, or what are your thoughts about today, Kyle Tucker, everything right now? I want to hear where you're at, and then we'll have a conversation.
I feel like nobody knows anything, and yet I am still refreshing Twitter every 2 seconds to see what the latest update is, because I'm just like everybody else and want to know. It's wild because the only person that truly knows or understands what's going on are probably Kyle Tucker and his agent, and whatever decision he's going to make. Ultimately, nobody knows but him. And we've got the Jays with their big money or longer term offer. Then who knows what the Mets are doing. For me, just thinking about it personally, somebody's offering me $200 million over 4 years. I'm probably just going to take that, and see what happens after the 4 years. But it's wild. I think the thing that is getting to me is that there's not a lot about the Dodgers out there right now, and they just kind of feel like the sneaky, we're hanging out, shadow in the background, waiting to pounce as soon as the moment is right, and just flex that we're the Dodgers, we're the best team in baseball. And Kyle Tucker, you'd continue to help us be the best team in baseball, and maybe go back to back with this Dodgers team. That's the team that's scaring me the most right now.
Well, I was bringing this up, and we've been talking ad nauseum about this. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I think that hearing these Mets offers get leaked is kind of a good thing for Toronto, or at least the way that I've been looking at it, because in years prior with Ohtani and with Soto and with various others, it always felt like Toronto's offers were the ones that were getting released, getting leaked. And at the time, we were sitting back and thinking, wow, this must mean that we're overwhelmingly the favorite to get this done because there's so much, chatter,
so much smoke.
And so much, so much smoke around Toronto and whatever. And then it just turned out that was effectively a leverage play, and then got the Dodgers to up their price, or whomsoever it was that we were bidding against at the time. That's kind of how I'm viewing this New York Mets deal, or at least the fact that it's getting openly released and it feels like we almost have a window into their negotiations. Am I wrong in thinking that way, or is there a little bit to that, do you think?
I feel like we've seen this play out. We see how this played out so many times in the past with the Jays, and you're right. Like, I feel the same thing. The way that the Mets have been used in this situation, it doesn't feel like Kyle Tucker is going to the Mets. Maybe he ends up going there, but again, like if the $200 million offer is on the table, that seems pretty attractive in my mind if you're any baseball player. But there's been a hesitation. Something doesn't add up here, and that's why they feel like the one in the relationship that's being used right now in order to get some more dollars from maybe the Jays, maybe the Dodgers, whomever it may be. We've seen this story play out for Toronto in the past. We've seen it play out for other teams, and it doesn't really track with the Mets offseason either. Like Pete Alonso goes off to the Orioles. The Mets aren't spending in the way that they had in prior off seasons. So something just doesn't feel right with how this is playing out.
Yeah, and I've thought about this so many times, Dan, where there was like a back and forth early. It was like November. I don't know if you saw these updates where it was between the GM and Steve Cohen. Like, they had a disagreement on how they were going to run the organization. Steve Cohen wanted to do it his way for a couple seasons, which resulted in all those splashy off seasons. Juan Soto was his big signing, but the GM, I'm blanking on his name right now, he didn't want that, and he was kind of leaning into that this offseason, which makes me surprised that they're pushing for Kyle Tucker, and I wonder if that's also Steve Cohen jumping in here and splashing the dollars. What do you think?
Yeah, Steve Cohen's going to do what Steve Cohen wants to do. The man's got more money than God, it seems like. And if he wants to spend it, he's going to go out and spend it. So, the way that that's operating, I just, like, if you're the Jays, they seem like they're in such a good spot, right? Like, you've made the move for Okamoto, and you've got a pretty good outfield as it stands. You're going to at least go into the year right now with, maybe a hope that Santander bounces back after his worst career season, and you're planning that Barger continues to play well after the year that he had. Kyle Tucker would be a cherry on top of this, a very nice cherry. Like, huge. Don't get me wrong.
Big cherry.
It's the greatest tasting cherry you've ever had in your life. But it's still, it puts an emphasis on what's already been a really strong offseason. And it puts the Jays as one of the AL favorites to probably the undoubted American League favorite if they're able to land Kyle Tucker. So a lot of this feels like Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro they can play this confidently, knowing that they've done a lot of good work already. And if they can get this across the line, I don't think they're not going to lose out to dollars and cents. Ultimately, like, what's going to happen here is probably, the way I'm reading it, is it's coming down to Kyle Tucker's decision and ultimately where he thinks the best place is for him to continue his baseball career. And there's not much more the Jays can do as far as trying to convince Kyle Tucker. But maybe don't show him all the photos of Toronto under complete snow.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's tweeting about that right now. Don't show him that.
No, it's like Vancouver's sunny today. Show them that. Like, yeah, Canada's a beautiful place.
Yeah, that's Canada. That's all the same thing, basically. Yeah.
Shout out to the 1,700 people that are currently watching. If you haven't already done so, please hit that like, smash the subscribe button. If you want to go follow along with Dan, highly recommend that you do so over at the Nation Network YouTube channel. They have a great show called Off the Roster with Cabby.
We had Vernon Wells on, guys, today.
Yes.
He was
holy shit.
He was unreal, man. Like Vernon, he was like calm, cool, collected. Really great thoughts. Had unreal story about Doc Halladay and Carlos Delgado. Definitely feels like Delgado should be in the Hall of Fame. And like kind of along the Mitch Marner storyline that's playing around in Toronto. You kind of felt. I certainly got a little bit of that vibe from Vernon that he still didn't love the way that his Blue Jays career ended and. I like we should and he should be remembered as one of the best Blue Jays of all time. I mean, he's easily a top 10 player in club history. If you go by the numbers, he's probably a top 5 position player in team history. But, he doesn't really ever get treated like that. And I've always kind of wondered, why is that? And maybe it's simply because those Blue Jays teams never made it to the playoffs because, the Yankees and Red Sox existed and only 4 teams made the playoffs back then.
Right, and then he plays for the Yankees, and it's.
He got punted by Alex Anthopoulos, right?
Oh
like,
yeah.
Like they. I remember when he got traded to the Angels, it was like, okay, like can't believe they got rid of Vernon's contract. That's going to be good for the rebuild, but. He played his final game with the Yankees, but because he still had a great career.
Because here's the thing, Dan. This might age everyone in the chat a little bit. I remember being, I must have been like 10 or 9. Like, I started to have conscious thoughts, at this age. I remember going to a Blue Jays game, and I remember Vernon Wells playing for the Yankees. His name was getting called, and I remember at that time I was like, oh, Vernon, I remember that name. And then just a rain of boos, and I was like, what's going on? Which made me think of the clip that you guys posted out today about Bo Bichette and his whole thing with, if he leaves Toronto, like, will he get boos? Me personally, I don't think so because of what he's done for this team during his tenure. And I think the Blue Jays should have probably signed him a long time ago to avoid the situation, but we weren't really sure if he wanted Vladdy or Bo Bichette. Where are you kind of at with that too? Like the whole booing thing when a player decides to leave?
I think with Bo, the way things ended, especially with that home run he hit in Game 7 on one leg, as we all remember, I find it hard to believe he would get any kind of a boo.
Agreed.
Maybe if he signs with the Yankees or the Red Sox, like it's just like, okay, you left us for those guys, but or if they meet again in the World Series with the Dodgers, and let's say that storyline plays out and Bo signs with them. I can see some scenarios where it's possible, but ultimately, I don't think Bo had that relationship. Like the fans certainly at the end there with the way that he performed in the World Series adored him. And for guys like Vernon signed the big contract and wasn't able to live up to it, right? Like that's when his career started to take a downturn. And we know how fans sort of feel about players that don't live up to their contracts. Again, I always remind people like, they weren't the ones that were like, they just signed the contract. It took somebody else to offer them. So it's not their fault that they were getting paid all that money. They were worth it at some point if they were being offered it. And, with a lot of times booing is over the top. I'm not going to tell a fan what to do. If that's how you feel in your heart about the way the situation played out, go ahead. Boo your heart out. You paid money for those tickets.
Right.
If you want to boo, go ahead and boo. But there's moments where I think it's warranted and moments where it isn't. When Mitch Marner comes back to Toronto, he's going to get booed. It's going to be relentless at Scotiabank Arena.
Which is hilarious because it's pretty ironic how many people wanted him to leave.
And Bo Bichette, I don't feel like it's going to be similar for Bo Bichette. Rougned Odor, like I'd still boo him today. Why not?
Yeah.
But it just takes a certain, like to boo your hometown team, it takes a level of real unhappiness as a fan to get to that level. And I don't feel it'll ever get there with Bo Bichette.
Okay. Yeah. Now, speaking of Bo, I know that you were discussing how it's if they get Tucker, they're the undeniable American League favorite. Let's look on the flip side of the coin right here. If they miss out on Kyle Tucker, it feels right now, to me anyways, that they've been so out of the Bo Bichette sweepstakes that they might miss out on him as well. Do you think that Toronto, should they, and knock on wood, I hope it doesn't happen, but if they do lose Tucker to the New York Mets, are we still going balls to the wall to get Bo, or is that ship kind of sailed at this point?
I feel like the ship sailed when they signed Okamoto.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Bo he's got an unbelievable bat, but we know that there's been questions about the glove. If he comes back, he's got to play second base, and you've got a pretty good second baseman, a guy who's playing for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic right
Shout
now,
out.
Ernie Clement. And I know, like, Ern's, his playoff performance was unbelievable, one of the best playoff performances we've ever seen. But, there's questions about the bat. It's about an average bat at best, a replacement level bat if you look at the WAR numbers on that front. But he was still over a 3-win player last year, and I think 2.5 the year prior. So we're talking about a very valuable player that you'd be kicking to mostly bench duty if you do bring back Bo Bichette, and a guy that's only making $4.5 million as well with Ernie Clement for the upcoming season. So there is a ton of value in Ernie Clement. I think Bo, ultimately, the way I saw a path back to Toronto for Bo as the way this offseason has played out is at a probably favorable number compared to maybe what he could get elsewhere. And I still feel like that's probably the case. And I don't see a reason why the Blue Jays would budge off that. It's like, we want you back, but we don't want you back that much. So,
right.
If Philly's going to offer him the bag, he's probably going to Philly.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I feel like Philly makes way too much sense. They got the spending power. They're still in a good window, especially after getting Kyle Schwarber back. It feels like he makes a lot of sense for them. Now, we'll let you go in a few minutes here, Dan. Before I do, we have a dono in here from TJ saying, what's your take on the Steve Cohen tweet? Did you see the Steve Cohen tweet that came out? Like,
I haven't seen the Steve Cohen tweet.
Okay, let's read it off to you, and we'll get your thoughts.
The entire Twitter verse is losing their freaking minds over this, and it is a little silly, but it's also like, how often do you have an owner GM tweet this out when all of this is going down? Steve Cohen at 6:57 p.m. tonight said, "Let me know when you see smoke." That was it. That was it. And in that being now already, it's got 1.9 thousand retweets or quote tweets, and everyone in baseball. Yeah, basically everybody that watches baseball right now is losing their minds. What does this mean? Is he a Met? Is this good? Is this bad for Blue Jays? What do you think about Steve Cohen saying, "Let me know when you see smoke"?
Steve Cohen is stirring the pot, man. Like I have no idea what any of that means. Like, is he just, is he had a couple of glasses of whiskey and something popped into his mind? It's like, that would be a great tweet. Yeah, I'm going to send that out right now.
That's what I'm saying.
Dude, like, actually, who fucking knows at this point, man? Like, maybe.
We've all been there. So it could be anything, but I know he's kind of played with Twitter in the past during free agencies. And so it's entirely possible that this has something to do with Kyle Tucker, and it just adds to the intrigue. I mean, right now, everybody says baseball offseason, things take too long to play out. I think what we learn every offseason is it's kind of the best. It's great for baseball. Like, you're not playing any games, but because these processes get drawn out for so long, there's just so much intrigue. There's so much interest that carries into January. I mean, we're less than a month away now from spring training, and people are still talking about baseball, whereas you flip it to hockey, and in August, like everybody's at their cottages in Muskoka, their cabins in Kelowna, and like nobody's talking hockey because there's zero movement in the NHL offseason. Everything happens July 1st and 2nd, and then everybody's done. See you later. Whereas with baseball, I mean, it just the news cycle never stops. Even if most of it is speculation, it's similar to soccer in that way, where it's like silly season is king, and people want to know the scuttlebutt. They don't even want to care if something's real or not. It's just like I was looking at tweets from a Boston Red Sox reporter today saying that the Blue Jays are going to sign Kyle Tucker soon. It's like I've never followed this reporter before, but now I want to believe them. That, like, in my heart of hearts, I believe them 100%. So everything becomes speculation. It adds to the silly season. It adds to the entertainment value as a baseball fan. Everything that's happening, I think Steve Cohen, as an owner in baseball, sees that more than anybody.
Yeah, I'm with you. We actually just have, maybe you saw it, our conversation, or maybe you didn't. We just had this conversation before you hopped on. I love the circus. It can be pretty fun and entertaining, but there is, I think, a part of us, all of us, that wishes it would just be over with. But that's part of the fun. It's the journey, right? It's the journey. So
it's the journey to heartbreak. Yes.
Yeah.
It's the journey.
Like sports.
That is sports.
Pretty much.
I don't know. Like, I'm kind of curious. How are Jays fans going to like if Tucker doesn't sign? Like, I'll be disappointed, but it won't be like the Shohei fallout or even the Sasaki fallout to a certain extent. I feel like it's different because the Jays have been the big spenders of the offseason to this point. Maybe you guys have a better idea of what the chat's feeling, but I feel we're in a very different vibe right now.
So I can tell you specifically what the chat should be feeling.
Well, we tweeted this out.
Yeah, this was I put this out on January 8th, so maybe things have changed since then. But and there was roughly 1,600 votes for this. But on Twitter, I asked if the Jays miss out on Tucker after all this hype, would that be more or less disappointing than when they missed on Ohtani? 27.3% of people said that would be more disappointing. So they think that this would be more disappointing than when we missed on Ohtani. 21.4% of people said that it would be the same level. We're just as disappointed with Ohtani. And then 51.3% said that this would be less disappointing.
Yeah.
And I do think that ultimately it would be, from my standpoint anyways, I would be likely less disappointed because, like you brought up earlier, this is the cherry on top. It's a pretty fucking awesome cherry. It's a big ass cherry. It's a big cherry. Yeah. So it would be really, really nice. But I do still think that this team is going to be good, regardless of whether they have him or not. Maybe not as good as if they had him, but they're still going to be a very solid team. They should still be one of the favorites in the American League. And we did already have, we had a full off season prior to all of this. So for all of those reasons, I do think it would be less disappointing. More disappointing, though, because we've talked about it so much more. And it is January 15th, and we've made X amount of videos and discussing all this. So that aspect of me would be very disappointed. Yeah. But I do think just from a fan, like heart standpoint, Ohtani, it was the pinnacle of disappointment.
That was up. World Series loss way more crushing, but that's a close second, man. A close second. Yeah.
Yeah. The Ohtani one is definitely a close second. I still have nightmares about Andy Pages somehow making that catch. So yeah, we all will. I wish Isaiah I wish IKF had like a size 15 foot, but that's. Maybe I'm the only one that wishes that. That doesn't have big enough feet, unfortunately. But what I take away from that poll is 48.7% of the voters have extreme recency bias, because the Shohei one was crushing. Like, we're talking about one of the greatest players in baseball history. Kyle Tucker's a pretty good player. He ain't Shohei Ohtani. And I living in Vancouver, but working for Rogers. I mean, I remember as that day was playing out, everybody, like, people within the company were convinced that it was happening. So just like, it was crazy to get that excited about it. It felt so real. And then no, he's signing with the Dodgers.
Dude,
the play never existed.
When we did the live stream, and the guys at the Nation Network over in Edmonton, they were putting our stream up, and everyone was dropping everything that day, right in the middle of hockey season, and they're all following this. It was just insane. So it affected everybody, around the world.
Yeah. Absolutely wild. Hopefully things go differently with Kyle Tucker, though.
Hopefully, man. It might be tonight. It might be tomorrow. But apparently, according to John Heyman, it could be any time before
the weekend. Before the weekend. And he better not bait me with that, man, because I can't have this shit going into Saturday and Sunday. Okay? I can't deal with that.
Didn't John Heyman say that yesterday that it would be today? I mean, I don't know. Do we believe John Heyman anymore? I don't know.
I don't even know. I broke it down. Like, he might know a source who knows his camp, who knows, obviously, Kyle Tucker. So it's like, we're playing telephone right now, or broken telephone. We'll see inevitably what happens. But, Dan, before you go, quick prediction in terms of percentages, the likelihood of him coming to the Blue Jays. Where are you at?
I'm sitting on a solid 72.4%.
Oh, wow. I like how you really went down to that decimal point right there. Not just 72, not just 72.3, 72.4. That's an important distinction, man. But we're kind of in the same area. I was at about 60% this morning. I'm starting to feel like it's more of a coin flip now that he is literally just sitting down and feels like he's doing the whole pros and cons thing right now between the Mets, Dodgers, and the Jays. So feeling a little bit more anxious right now, but at the end of the day, money talks, long-term deal, that should be a positive for Toronto. So I do still like our chances. Before we let you go, I know that you just had Vernon Wells on. I imagine you're going to have a lot of other fun guests coming on in the new or the upcoming days. How about you let the chat know, 1,700 people in here right now, what they can expect from Off the Roster at the Nation Network YouTube channel in the near future?
Well, absolutely go check out the Vernon Wells interview. He goes through so many different things, even gives his take on what Kyle Tucker and Bo Bichette are going through right now in free agency. So I encourage you to go check that out. We've got Pascal Siakam coming up on Monday, and also starting to get into some Canadian Olympians as well. Brad Jacobs, famous curler, is going to join us. So we are really excited and starting to get into some big things. So next week, Pascal Siakam and Jacobs as well, as we get ready for the Milano Olympics.
Siakam is a good one. I got to watch that one. I love that guy in 2019.
Spicy P.
Give me some good vibes. All right, Dan.
And then also very quickly, with no reasoning, no rhyme whatsoever, Super Bowl prediction.
I'm going to go with, you know what? I'm going to go with my team. No, never go in the Bears.
Good.
Going with my team. We're going Seahawks all the way.
They're my pick.
It's written in destiny. Everybody's not trusting Sam Darnold. He's got an oblique injury now. I don't know what that's about. Hopefully it's not too bad. But the Niners are like barely alive. They've got so many injuries. It's just the path is paved for the Seahawks to do it. So it's going to be a Seahawks win this year over the Bills.
All right, there you have it. That is Dan's official Super Bowl prediction, but more from him at Off the Roster at the Nation Network YouTube channel. Thank you very much for joining us, brother. We're going to be here for probably a little while longer, waiting for hopefully something to drop. But thank you very much for joining us, man. Enjoy your evening, and fingers crossed, Kyle Tucker is a Blue Jay by tomorrow.
That would be the best. Thanks for this, fellas. Cheers.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right.
That was his take on all of it, everybody. And I think what I took away the most from that is that we're all in the same goddamn boat. Nobody knows anything right now. We are all just refreshing Twitter, trying, waiting, and figuring out what is going to happen with Kyle Tucker. We're actually going to get another guest on relatively soon. Scott from the Walkoff podcast. If you've watched our channel for a long period of time, then I guarantee that you've seen him before. He's always got some incredible takes, and we like to hear about it. But before we get into all of that, quick shout out here to Abba Edgar, who's saying Kyle Tucker spent a lot of time with the Blue Jays players. I never saw any reports about him spending time with the Mets players or the Dodgers players. I would never go to the Mets, and there's a lot of drama with the Mets. This is certainly true. I know that they have some clubhouse question marks, whereas whereas I think that Toronto has some clubhouse answers,
Right.
if you will. Like, we are, we have one of the better clubhouses in all of baseball. I'd imagine the Dodgers probably have a pretty awesome clubhouse too, just because it's hard to be mad at each other when you win all the goddamn time. But that should, again, be an advantage for Toronto. Miles Straw, George Springer, these guys are all homies. They were with Kyle Tucker when he was coming up and becoming Kyle Tucker, so wouldn't be surprised if that definitely plays into all of this as well.
Yeah, like that makes a crap load more sense to me. And yeah, dude, like the Mets clubhouse is kind of toxic. Like, look about the last couple of years. I know they just traded away Jeff McNeil for that literal reason that him and Francisco Lindor did not get along, and he had a bad year, so they had an excuse to get rid of him. But like, seriously, like it's not a good place to be. And if you're Kyle Tucker walking in New York, I know that you got Juan Soto there, and he can take a lot of the media pressure. But like, you're kind of expected to take this team who, how many wins did they have last year? 80, 70?
Let me take a look, man. Yeah, like the Mets were irrelevant.
They weren't good last year.
Correct me if I'm wrong. They started out good,
and then
it just all completely fell apart. Yeah, that was a. And there was no like what's that bloody McDonald's thing again, Gritty or something. He couldn't save them,
Gritty
or whatever his name, you know what I mean? Grimace. Thank you. Yes. Nobody could save them. They were not the team that they paid for. They had 83 wins last year. So slightly above 500, but that's just not remotely close. The Phillies had 96, so the Phillies were overwhelmed. Like they had won that division in August. Effectively, this was not competitive. So yay, you got above 500. What does it mean? Literally nothing at all.
Yeah, literally.
I still think New York is going to be a better team. Their pitching staff is certainly questionable, but when you're comparing pound for pound, if your whole goal is I want to be in a successful franchise, and if you think about it, actually now I'm thinking about it right now, has Kyle Tucker ever missed the playoffs?
No, yeah, because Houston
missed the playoffs?
Houston just missed it last year, and he was on Houston. Yeah, he's never missed the playoffs.
He's never missed the postseason.
Is that important to him? I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know. Because maybe the other thinking could be, well, I don't care.
He's got postseason fatigue at this point.
I want to play less baseball. I don't know.
Look, if we're gonna take that speculation of him being an Anthony Rendon type as accurate, I guess maybe
go with the Mets then.
But this is an individual who is accustomed to winning and being relevant late in October. The best opportunity for you to do that would be the LA Dodgers, but the second best would be the Toronto Blue Jays.
Exactly.
So out of the teams that you're currently talking to right now.
Exactly, right? Also, we had a lot of donos while Dan was on, so apologies, guys. So we missed a bunch, so I'm just going to try to get through them right now. We got Mr. Julius H. with a 699 dono. Thank you so much, my man, saying, Bo wants to win with Guerrero, and the Jays are only team who can give him that opportunity. Well, you're not wrong about that. They would be the only team to give him the opportunity unless the Blue Jays somehow traded them over to Philadelphia. But I think he did. And he certainly said that when he was with Toronto, but you can leave that open to interpretation. He wanted to win with his time while he was in Toronto. And that might still be a need and a desire, later in life that he, I really wish we could have done it. But at the end of the day, money talks. If I'm getting my $200 million from the Phillies and I'm not getting anything from the Blue Jays, I got to go and make my bag.
That's
you got to make my money.
Bo Bichette, I do think that if Toronto gave him a competitive offer, he would strongly consider coming back here.
Right.
Strongly consider coming back here. I think that the reason we haven't signed him yet, or there isn't a lot of reports about Bo coming to Toronto, is because from Toronto's standpoint, they're more interested in moving on than not.
Yeah.
And if you really do think about it, what is it that we value? Defense. We love, and I know that we
love offense.
We love that as well.
We love players.
No. Okay, but there are certain characteristics. I know you're fucking around, but I'm actually talking a point right here. Okay, we love defense, and we do love average. We love an individual that can consistently make contact and can hit and everything like that. But an individual that can do both is Kyle Tucker. Yeah. And that's why he's got, Ross Atkins' eyeball just fixated on him right now. And they might be more interested in moving on from Bo Bichette.
Also, we got some donuts here from Jeffrey, thank you. Oh my gosh, couldn't read that for a second. Jeffrey just like throwing in donos, just like a 699, a 279, another 279 saying Tucker is on the plane. Yeah, that's a running joke that will never stop.
Amount of that, is that ever going to go away?
No.
Do you think that meme, there's got to be a time eventually, right? There has to be a moment where it just dies out.
Probably like when our generation gets old enough where we don't care anymore. So like 40 years. You know, like,
I think
probably.
I think it will go away if and when they win a World Series, because then you can always respond. But then it's
I would, even if they won this last year and we were in this sweepstakes, I think they would still.
It would still be that, right? It would still be.
It's gonna keep going as long as people remember, and that's why I believe like when we're like 60 and people are tired of Twitter, like Nick and I's age, where it's like we remembered that time,
right?
Then people will stop caring.
Yeah,
you know.
Actually, we might need to have. Now I'm thinking about it too. We might need someone else to get plane streamed.
It needs to be.
And if somebody else, like if let's just say for instance, a report comes out that Tucker on a flight, on a bus to New York right now, and then the Mets get baited, that might save us.
Right.
Because then they would have been the latest ones.
Or they could be looped in with us.
They might be.
We're all just a big laughing stock.
I think the big problem is that it's fucking Shohei Ohtani, and that's the greatest player of all time. Kyle Tucker's great, but he is never going to be that guy.
So we're gonna go through a couple more donos here. We got Swingman Lou 199 dono saying Tucker's B-day is Saturday, so decision is soon. That's why he wants to get it done before the weekend. He's like, yo, I can't be like making these contract negotiations. You know how sick that would be? You just sign either your 200 million or your 350 million, whatever you sign, and then your birthday is the next day, and you're just you can just party. Like, I mean, at least in my mind, that would be freaking sweet.
Well, he's gonna be partying. Isn't it just ludicrous? I can't even really wrap my brain around it, but the fact that he has got offers on the table for generational wealth, like you're sitting pretty. And also, guess what? I did see people in chat saying it. I bought it, and you didn't clickbait me this time. Steve Cohen did just come out with a tweet. We have a guest waiting in the wings right now, but before we get to that, Steve Cohen just tweeted out, for those who don't understand the Pope election reference, we are waiting for a decision. That's all I know.
Oh!
So there you have it.
Confirmed. He doesn't know.
Confirmed.
He doesn't know what's going on.
He's not sure. He did have a couple whiskeys, and thought he would just throw caution to the wind and say it.
This is such a 69-year-old grandpa thing. You guys didn't understand my Pope election reference. I'm sorry. If you did, congrats. I didn't.
Well, I did. After we looked it up, I did get the reference, because the whole thing with the Pope, right, is like they go into the chapel and they're locked in there. And then the way that they show off to everybody around, the Vatican, that they've selected a new pope, is that you get a smoke that comes up.
See, I thought like when there's smoke, there's fire. That's what I was thinking.
That's initially where my brain went to as well.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
But yeah, I mean, again, Steve Cohen has deciphered it all, everybody. So he is waiting just like we are.
Which kind of almost maybe confirms my past theory that he's sitting by the phone, and the Mets are like, well, is Tucker going to take our deal? Like, I don't know. Like, he's off doing his own thing. Maybe he's talking with the Blue Jays.
And that also could mean to me that they have reached their final offer. And Toronto has reached their ceiling offer. And the Dodgers have reached their ceiling offer. And if that's the case, then now it's out of everyone's hands.
Right.
And it really does, like, do you want to live in Canada? Or do you want to live in LA, or do you want to live in the Big Apple? Where do you want to go?
Make your decision, Kyle.
I don't, just decide.
We got a few more donos got to rattle off here. Again, Joffrey saying if Tucker signs, he'll subscribe to the channel. Joke's on you, my man. You can only send that in if you are subscribed. So I believe. I mean, I think you have to comment in the chat only if you're subscribed. So I believe that is the case. And I think that is. Oh, we got one more from Emerson with a $5 dono saying, I know that Vladdy isn't anywhere near Shohei, but if Shohei really was on a plane, Vladdy probably wouldn't be a Blue Jay right now. And I mean, we can go down that rabbit hole and talk about that till the cows come home. Maybe, maybe not. You know, maybe the Shohei Ohtani is deferred and, you know, it pays for Vladdy. So you never know, right? You never know.
Exactly, right? So, like, if that would have happened, then maybe we win the World Series because that means Ohtani's not on the Dodgers, but then Vlad's not on the... Too much.
It's too much.
Let's bring in somebody to help us go through everything that we've heard up until this point. Shout out to...
where is he? There he is.
Scott!
Scott!
From the Walkoff podcast.
Yeah.
There he is right now.
Nick, Adam, hello.
So,
what up?
Funnily enough, everybody, we were supposed to actually go get beers with Scott tonight. That was the plan.
Yes.
And then Kyle Tucker decided to do this whole thing, and Steve Cohen decided to, you know, come out with cryptic tweets and reference the Pope and whatever. And now instead of getting a beer and having a good time and catching up, we're sitting here and we're refreshing Twitter like just absolute psychopaths. So let me start this off by asking you, is this Ohtani part 2, dude?
Oh, I sure hope not, gentlemen. I mean, everyone hopes not. I think that's why we're doing Kyle Tucker Watch right now, is in the hope that this is not the case. And I'll say this right now. If for whatever happens with Tucker, everyone better not start doing a Bellinger watch after this, right? Like, the focus better not.
I don't
just
give a
turn
fuck
to
anymore,
Belly.
man. Like, whoever comes here, great. If not, whatever.
But Scott, I want to hear your thoughts, man, because, again, we haven't chatted, and this is one of the many things I was going to talk to you about tonight. Kyle Tucker, Mets, Dodgers, Blue Jays, where are you kind of leaning right now? What are your thoughts on the whole situation with the whole contract being released, right, by the media, about $200 million, 4 years, 50 per year? What are your thoughts on that situation, and how do you feel in terms of confidence about the Blue Jays getting him?
And on top of that, follow-up, this is something that nobody's really actually discussed. Is he even worth this amount of money?
I mean, probably not in the long run, but my goodness, the window on this team right now over the next 4 years is pretty wide open, and that's going to coincide with his prime beautifully. So if you're just talking like, would it be worth it for the Blue Jays? Flags fly forever. So, I mean, they still got to do the hard part, even if they do land Kyle Tucker, which is go out and repeat what they did in 2025 and get back to the playoffs and a chance to win it all again, right? So, I mean, Kyle Tucker would be such an incredible add to this team. And if you get a few good playoff runs out of it, it's probably worth those prime years. My feeling, honestly, is Kyle Tucker's pretty chill and probably doesn't want to go through this again. So if, for whatever it may be, the Blue Jays are on that, you know, that's what everyone's reporting is that the Blue Jays are 9 to 10 years, then yeah, I mean, Toronto is a world-class city. It just showed that it's a very competitive team. And, I mean, having 2 mega contracts like that, you're also kind of putting that flag up there of, hey, we're a behemoth too. This is a major, major market, and we've got 2 superstars on this team locked up for a decade plus.
Right. You know, it's funny, like the same argument people have been making, again, I don't know where they're getting this from, that like Kyle Tucker doesn't really want to play baseball that long, like he doesn't really care, he doesn't want to take a long-term deal because that means he's going to have to play for 10 years, which is just crazy. I mean, you know, unless you're Anthony Rendon, like, then that's just a crazy thing to say. But yeah, the same thing could be made about like this whole free agency stuff. It's like, why would I want to go and if I am that lazy, why do I need to perform hardcore for the next 4 years to get another contract? If I was actually lazy, I would just take the money. Like you brought this up earlier, just take the money and go.
Put your feet up. You never need to think about it again. I ultimately think that even though like $50 million is a ton of money, but if Toronto's offer is $40 million a year, I'm speculating right now. We obviously don't know what it is. But if it's $40 million a year, but the year is 8 or 9 years or 10 years, like, I mean, like that's a lot of guaranteed cash. And I get that money now is better than money later, but I mean, the difference between 40 and 50 million, granted, this is coming from somebody that's never seen and never will touch $1 million in my life, but like that feels like you'd lean on the side of, hey, give me the long-term contract. I don't need to worry about this again. I get to set my family up in what is a good city. and then we're done. Which actually brings me to another point. People have been talking about Toronto as a city. Adam and I had a big discourse about this. And John Heyman came out today and said, maybe Tucker might want to go to a place, this is paraphrasing by me, that's not as big of a bright light city as New York or LA. And I think the term that he used was
he would prefer a lesser market or something
like
that.
Intense market.
Less intense
a less
market.
Intense market, which is just another one of those shots at Toronto. What do you think about that narrative that Toronto is a smaller market than New York or LA or wherever else?
I mean, I have eyes. They can say whatever they want, but I watched that World Series run in October. That was absolute insanity. I was on the road, so I make my living as a stand-up to everyone watching, and so I was on tour during this playoff run. And every single town I played in this country, and we're talking the middle of Saskatchewan, we're talking northern BC, the games were on, the bars were packed, everyone was in Jays gear. This is not some lesser market. That is just ignorance at its best. And I mean, this is what Heyman has slandered the Jays forever, right? So like he just doesn't view it as what it is, which is, to say it too many times, behemoth. And I've been waiting for the Blue Jays to be a behemoth market, and we're finally here, gentlemen. And I don't mean to zig and zag here, but I just want to jump back to something that you brought up, Adam. I'm curious, and if you boys have already discussed this, we can just move on. But I'm curious
listen, I can guarantee, Scott, we've probably talked about this already. Several times. I don't know what it is, but there's so many things you could talk about with Kyle Tucker.
Yes, absolutely. Do you guys buy the I don't like baseball stuff? Or
no,
that he doesn't
I don't
love
buy
baseball stuff? You know,
I don't buy it.
Where is that
doesn't have
coming
enough
from?
Art?
Yeah, where is that coming from? Seriously.
Genuinely, where is that coming from? Why is this the narrative that has now suddenly been created? That he is the next Anthony Rendon? Why?
This is the thing. They're calling it the Anthony Rendon syndrome. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, like I genuinely look. In 4 years, if he turns to Anthony Rendon, then I will come back and eat my words and be like, "What the heck? That was dumb. We should have saw that narrative. Everyone was talking about it, but nothing leads me to believe that he would like who would. Where is this information coming from? Is where I want to know. Is it like genuinely he told one of his good friends and then they leaked it? Like that doesn't feel likely. So yeah, I don't buy it. I don't buy it, Scott.
Yeah, it feels kind of like what the market did here with Bo a little bit, because he is an introvert and maybe not quite as like flamboyant as some of the like guys on the bench. Kyle Tucker, very similar, right? He's a mild-mannered dude who goes about his business, and he goes about it very well. Like, I mean, we're talking about a guy who could get $400 million. So I don't really buy the lax heart, especially he's got rings, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I brought this up. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know all of the seasons back there in Houston, but I'm pretty confident he's been to the playoffs every single year in his career. He's never not been at maybe one of the 20, like I can't remember all of the different Houston seasons here, but I know that Houston was living in the playoffs for effectively the last decade. And then the 1 year that he's not there anymore, he's with Chicago. They don't go to the playoffs, but Chicago goes to the playoffs.
Yeah.
So this is an individual that's used to winning, and that's always played a pivotal role on these successful ball clubs. Where in all of these numbers, do we see somebody that is lazy or doesn't care about it? You're telling me that the second he signs this big deal, he's just going to put his feet up and that's it, I'm done, don't care anymore. Where did we get this narrative from?
It's like holding injuries against a guy, right? Like, especially, and some people are doing that with Tucker, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Because if you look into the injuries, they're both kind of bad luck. It's like, to make a Jays reference here, obviously Danny Jansen back in the day was that guy who just like people would say he's injury prone, and you're like, well, I guess, but it's
keeps
like
getting hit
a
in the hands.
broken hand and like a gets hit in the like.
Yeah, no, it's true, right? So I don't know where that comes from. And actually, Ann Beacock, shout out to you, Ann, by the way, $2 donation. She says, I heard the YouTuber Fuzzy say that 2 weeks ago. Again, I don't know the video or I don't know the reference. Thank you, Ann, for letting us know. But where is he getting it from? I don't know. Is he
we'll have to go
know.
watch whatever it was that he took that from. This just feels to me like it's one of those things that's getting passed through the grapevine.
Yeah.
We see this all the time. Athletes and just people in
general.
Yeah, people like public figures. A narrative gets created, it snowballs, people take off with it, and then it's like, where did this come from?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's what's happening right now with Kyle Tucker. Either way, don't be concerned that he's just going to stop playing if he comes here. What do you think about the Dodgers in all of this? Because we're hearing offers getting leaked from New York, and we know that Toronto's whole thing, or theoretically, this is what's speculated on, allegedly, is that they're going to give the longer-term deal. New York's whole thing is we're going to give the short-term deal, but it's going to be $50 million a year, which is stupid money. What do you think about LA right now? Are they still in this thing? Are you scared about them?
It's kind of interesting, guys, because I'm not really that worried about the Dodgers. And I mean, famous last words, I guess.
Yeah, knock. You got a lot of wood around there. You're
about the
knocking on it
Dodgers?
right now, pal.
Yeah, like you look at that Dodgers team, and I mean, we're talking about an organization that has just won 2 rings back to back, a very difficult feat. And I mean, they also added Edwin Diaz to a bullpen that supposedly wasn't that good, but man, it looked pretty darn good in that World Series. So, I mean, yeah, I worry about the Dodgers, but do I think that they're as aggressive as the Mets and the Blue Jays are? I really don't believe it, and I haven't heard enough smoke maybe to really, and maybe that says something too, although it's not like the Dodgers are an organization that is just like mom is the word. I mean, Dave Roberts and the Ohtani stuff was giving updates on every meeting they had with him. So
Right, I remember
I don't
that,
know.
yeah.
Like, what do you guys think? Are you worried about the Dodgers? They feel like the third in this race.
See, and this all comes back to history of leverage with these big number 1 free agents. It feels like the team that gets talked about the most about all their details and what they're offering and their intention is usually the team that's getting used as leverage, aka the Blue Jays in many, many years past. And I feel like that's happening with the Mets right now. That's my personal opinion. That's why all this information got out there so that these other teams pony up and pay Tucker what he wants. So with that being said, the Dodgers, we haven't heard anything. So I think they're going to be right there. And so I forget who said it today, but it was a good comparison. They're right there by the rim waiting for the rebound. Like whatever opportunity lands in their lap, like, okay, Tucker will do it for this. They're going to be ready to pounce on it. So I actually, is it crazy for me to say I kind of fear them a little bit more than the Mets right now?
No, I don't think that's crazy.
I like
at all.
that theory, Adam.
Yeah.
I like that theory.
Yeah, we've been talking ad nauseum here, Scott, about how I was pretty happy, both of us were, when the Mets offer got leaked, because it feels like the signs of a team that's being used as leverage. And I don't think that he's just using the Mets as leverage. I think he's seriously considering going and playing there and living in New York, which is a great city, and playing with Juan Soto, who's a great player. And I know the Mets really underperformed last year, but it feels like they should do better, especially if they brought Kyle Tucker in. They should do more than 83 wins the following season. So I do think he's definitely thinking about it. But when you see all of these things come out, it does feel as if there's an element of leverage play here. And hey, what's the benefit for everyone knowing that it's $50 million a year and it's for 4 years?
I agree with both of you. Like, honestly, the idea that they are using it to try and up that AAV makes all the sense in the world. And I mean, if you look at a deal and the Blue Jays are said to be the long-term one out there, and let's say it's 10 years, $380 million, even 4 years, $200, it's like, at 33, does he trust that he's still going to be healthy enough to hit the market and regain that $180 million?
Yes.
Does he wish to go through this process again? Is he enjoying free agency, or is it starting to be a bit of a invasion into what seems like a pretty private dude's life, right?
Right. Yeah.
Does he trust that his agent can match that 180 that's still on the table. I don't know. Like, the last thing you want to do as a free agent is leave $100 million out there that you just wind up missing out on, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, like, and you bring up a point, and I know that all those injuries weren't necessarily his fault, but he had the calf injury, then the wrist injury, and then he was missing some time. He kind of fell off at the end of last year. He, like, during the 2024 season, his last one with the Houston Astros, I had him on fantasy, this is why I know this. He was like MVP. You know, he was like MVP levels of performance, and then he got hurt, and he was done for the entire year.
And he was at the start of the season, too. So, like, was he
Right.
playing through the injury, right? That's
Right.
probably the likely scenario.
Right, exactly. So, again, furthers the point, why not just get the big contract now? Why risk leaving all that money off the table and then not being able to get it in 4 years when I'm 33 years old hitting free agency?
Yeah. I mean, again, all of this makes a lot of sense. Now, I do want to pick your brain, Scott, about how you feel about the offense that Toronto has now. Let's assume for a second that the Mets or the Dodgers or whomsoever, they get Kyle Tucker. And let's assume for a second that the Phillies close the deal with Bo Bichette and he goes over there. And now, in terms of a lineup standpoint, we have lost Bo Bichette. We've gained Kazuma, which is really cool. Who knows what the ceiling could be right there? Could be a high ceiling. High floor guy is what everybody says, but I still think he could have a high ceiling. How are you feeling about this lineup walking into next year, assuming we don't get Kyle Tucker or don't bring back Bo Bichette?
Honestly, I think this team is just as good offensively as they were last year, and they went to Game 7 of the World Series. And yes, there have been some Jenga-ing, if you will, to this lineup. I mean, some blocks have been taken out and some new blocks put in. And if you look at the style of play the Blue Jays were going for last year with their offensive numbers, it was very much a put the ball in place type of scenario, right? So you are betting on a guy who strikes out more than Anthony Santander and isn't necessarily that put the ball in play guy, but he's a dude with 40 home run potential, right? And he kind of is one of the big question marks that no one's really talking about all that much because he was here last year and he just underperformed and was injured.
Yeah.
So I really think that there isn't going to be all that much pressure on Okamoto, and he's going to be able to adjust to major league pitching at the bottom of an order, which is something that maybe wasn't going to be available if he went to another market. It might be why he chose Toronto in the end when it all was said and done, right? So, yeah, I do like this team. Guys, like, they lost in the World Series. This is a darn good team before they did anything. I love what they did pitching-wise, and I think that the offense question is a good one.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about it?
I mean, I think offensively, there's a lot of arguments we could take a bit of a step back. I mean, let's not forget Bo Bichette for the first 5 months of the season was an RBI machine. A runners in scoring position demon. Like, he was really good. And he helped us get to those 94 wins, tying the Yankees, got the tiebreaker. Like, he was a big part of that. So I think there is going to be an element missing. Now, you're right. There will be some guys having step-up years, but there will be guys having step-down years, a.k.a. George Springer, probably. That's hard to replicate. So overall, maybe offense takes a little bit of step back, but I still think they're going to be one of the top teams under David Popkins. But pitching staff-wise, mwah. Like, that rotation, we talked about it early on, but we kind of forgot. Like, that is going to be a nasty rotation. I think they're going to pick up some slack and, have to play some close games and get a win occasionally. So I think overall we'll still be a good team with World Series aspirations.
I don't think that the offense is going to perform like it did in the final month of the season, and I'm referencing the playoffs because a lot of people are just assuming it's like, oh, we don't need Bo because look at what we did without him, and it was so awesome and great.
Right.
At the end of the day, I've brought this example a few times up, and just because it is so dramatic, is Ernie Clement a 450 hitter? Probably not over 162. And Vladdy's incredible. Probably not a 2 OPS guy over 162. So I do believe that the offense is going to take a step back without Bo Bichette. However, that being said, is it still good enough to make the playoffs? Yeah. And especially now that you have a pitching staff that hopefully you can fall back on. Because last year, when you look at all of the numbers, the pitching kind of sold. And
Yeah, it did.
like
Yeah,
it was that was not a pitching staff that really belonged in the playoffs. They locked in once we got to October. They did a relatively good job, but up until that point,
They were below average.
that was a below
Like, they
average
were
pitching
below average.
staff in basically everything.
Yeah.
So if we could just get them
Yeah,
to
things
pick up
really
the
came
slack.
together there.
Yeah,
like
Trey is savage.
Chris Bassett in
There
the
we go.
bullpen and
Yeah.
Scherzer's all of a sudden incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, again, it was an incredible 11 games before Bo Bichette hit the World Series, right?
Yeah.
Is what we're referring to. It was an incredible 11 games. If you took an 11-game sample size out of the 162 and were like, bam, we don't need Bo Bichette because of this 11-game stretch, I mean, everyone would call you crazy, right? It just so happened that everyone was watching. So, yeah, I think, we definitely need Bo Bichette. We needed him to get there. He's going to be a big bat that is missed, but, hopefully we have some other guys step up, pitching, hitting, whatnot.
Also, very quickly, Jose
know.
Reyes right here has tweeted something. If this means anything to you, he's part of the Mets organization, saying something big coming.
And he was
That's
part of
all.
the Blue Jays.
Yeah. So Jose Reyes says something big's coming. Does he know something that Steve Cohen doesn't? Likely not, everybody.
Dude, again, everyone's freaking out about this. It's like, if I'm Jose Reyes and I've got influence, I could just say anything at this point.
Yeah.
And everyone's going to go crazy.
And he's not wrong. Something big is coming. And we don't know what it is, but something big is coming.
That's an easy dart to throw.
So
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
So easy. Dude, I would never do this because I want to hold up our reputation, but I've had thoughts like, man, I could just tweet something like, someone's telling me that something's coming. And then everyone would be like, whoa, what do they know? But
And guess what? He didn't even say that. He just said something big's coming.
Yeah.
Like in
He said
fact,
it
you
was.
can't possibly be wrong.
yeah.
Eventually, something
Something
big
will
will happen. Maybe it's not even about Kyle Tucker. It could be freaking anything. For all we know.
Yeah. There actually is a new pope, another one.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's something big's gonna happen soon.
yeah.
So, that's the latest right there. We've been asking everybody this, Scott. Percentage-wise, Dan Riccio was on here. He gave, I believe it was 72.4% chance that he ends up with Toronto. I was sitting at a 60% chance earlier today. It's maybe declined a little bit with the fact that it does feel like Tucker is really weighing the pros and cons of each team. Adams around that 70% mark earlier today as well. What is your percentage right now that he ends up with the Toronto Blue Jays?
As it gets closer to the decision, I get more nervous and I want to take my foot off the gas.
Me too. Me too.
Had you asked me this a week ago, I would have been like 80%. And now I'm like, 40?
Ooh, that's a
under
big
50?
swing.
Because I'm gonna go 45% Blue Jays, 35 Mets, and then there's still that 10% that the Dodgers get in there. You can't write them off. And I mean, you guys made a very good point that maybe they're not written off at all, and it might be something worth being scared about that they are not getting talked about.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Did you also, I want to grab these thoughts from you. Did you see the Steve Cohen tweet?
Yes.
What do you think? I mean, he
Well, I
clarified about it being the Pope, but what do you think about how he's also just waiting around as well?
I don't know. You kind of touched on it. I think he's sitting back in his office. He's a few whiskeys deep, and he's like, I'm going to kick the hornet's nest. It might just be out of their hands at this point. It might just be one of those things where it's like, all right, everybody submit your final offers, and we'll let everyone know in the morning, and we're the idiots who just don't know.
Yeah, I think that's maybe the biggest takeaway that I had was it feels as if the final offers are in. Because if the final offers weren't in, then he would still be negotiating.
Right.
But if Steve Cohen
Then why is he
actively,
waiting for smoke? Yeah, exactly.
If he's just waiting for an answer, the Mets are at their ceiling. And if the Mets are at their ceiling, then you have to imagine that the Jays and the Dodgers are probably not far behind that either, and that this is going to be their final offer. So that's why it leads me to believe that it really genuinely is just Kyle Tucker sitting down with his family, his agency, and trying to figure out what is important to him as a baseball player, and then also where does he want to spend the next 4 or 10 years of his life.
Yeah.
Beautifully put, Nick. Really put a bow on that.
I mean, let's just end the stream right now. but no, we're not going anywhere. We still got to be talking more baseball. Scott, why don't you also take this opportunity to let the people know, A, what you're doing next week, and then also B, more Jays related, what will be happening this season with Baseball Town.
Yes. Okay. So let's start with this, a little self-promotion. I do have a comedy show if you're into that sort of thing. It's called Home Field Advantage. So I make my living out on the road, and I'm finally playing a Toronto show, headlining Comedy Bar on Bloor, 9 p.m. next Thursday. So swing on down. Tickets $20. And then if you are a Toronto Blue Jays fan and you're going to be down at spring training, Baseball Town is going to be live there in Dunedin. We have Davis Schneider, Riley Terada, MVP.
Oh, we love Riley.
The Buffalo Bisons.
Yeah.
And then Grant Rogers. So he's the big 6'7" prospect in New Hampshire. That's the player panel. And then the media panel, we've got Mitch Bannon from The Athletic, old buddy Keegan Matheson from MLB.com, and then Ben Nicholson-Smith from Sportsnet. So $20 tickets for Baseball Town. If you're down in spring training in Dunedin, come out and hang out. That's going to be March 4th. So the Canada WBC and the Jays play on the 3rd, and then it's an off day. So come hang out and talk Blue Jays.
Sounds amazing. And Scott, we'll let you know if we're going to be around for that time.
Fingers
too.
crossed you boys are there. I'd love to have you down.
I'm hoping that'll be great too, especially, I mean, you got a stacked panel. We got to see Riley down in Buffalo this year. He was a cool guy.
Yeah.
We played hacky sack, before the game with him. Like, just chill guy, right? So lots of great vibes at Baseball Town. You guys don't want to miss. I'm sure we'll be talking about it more. But Scott, hopefully we get a Kyle Tucker signing to the Blue Jays, whether it be tonight or tomorrow. Hopefully
Fingers
soon,
crossed. Nick,
all right, Scott.
Adam, gentlemen, thank you so much. I always love talking Blue Jays with you. We'll have to grab that beer sometime too.
Absolutely, man. Have a good one, Scott.
Later, boys.
All right, guys, that was Scott from the Walkoff podcast. Go check out his YouTube channel. And again, go check out his comedy show next Thursday at the Comedy Bar. And, of course, Baseball Town if you are in Dunedin. But also, he does it throughout the entire year, too. It's like about once a month, he'll do it at the Comedy Bar. Or actually now it's at Left Field Brewery. So it's a great time. We have lots of drinks. It's a great
It is obviously, or not obviously, but it is an amazing experience. If you are a Jays fan and you do happen to want to be amongst like-minded individuals, could not recommend more. We're usually featured in it. He's got some bigger hitters this time in Dunedin.
Oh, just Davis Schneider and whatever.
But no, it is an awesome time for sure. Are we thinking this is going to happen tonight?
Well, that's what Ari Pizdono is saying right here, saying, I think the deal gets done tomorrow. I hate to say it, and I'm honestly kind of aligned with him. I mean, again, like the same thing. Like he's waited this long. I think he's going to take his time. I think, and now you have John Heyman, like we started off this whole live stream, saying it's probably going to happen tomorrow. Probably happen tomorrow. And look, if it happens tomorrow, we're going to be here. We're going to at least have a Blue Jays Today show locked in for 6 p.m. But if things start happening,
it will likely devolve into a Kyle Tucker watch.
Exactly. We could be doing a Kyle Tucker watch whenever, at some point tomorrow, all day long. And we'll be sure to be bringing some people on and answering a lot of your questions as well on this stream for sure.
I really do wonder, and I wish I could be a fly on the wall in all of this. I imagine that it's going to come out when he does inevitably choose whomsoever team he's going to. Mm-hmm. But what were the big deciding factors? What are the reasons as to why it's New York versus, yes, the money, but the money feels inconsequential because, like Dan said, and like we've been saying, the money's not going to stop Toronto.
No.
Right? The money is going to be, maybe it's not the same average annual value, but it's going to be way longer. And when you just compare valuations and you do all your algorithms and your math, it's going to be kind of the same.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not going to come down to the money. It's going to come down to where you want to go and who you want to play with.
And how long you want to play with them.
How long you want to play with them. And I wonder what the big deciding factors here are going to be.
And that's the thing. Like, we don't necessarily know that. And I'm assuming, if you're negotiating with Kyle Tucker, you're probably asking, what do you want? what do you want here right now? And that's what also kind of, perks my ears up a little bit. It's like, wouldn't these teams know what he would prefer?
Well, they're
you know
trying.
what I mean?
They're trying to.
They're trying to. Like, wouldn't he tell you what he would want? Because I don't know.
But there's also certain things that are out of your control. And I have no idea about his family and or loved ones, but did his wife spend time in college in New York and loves New York? I don't know.
Yeah,
but
did his daughter point to a Blue Jays logo? Okamoto shout out. We don't know.
It feels like this is the stuff that it's coming down to.
Yeah,
it's the people, it's his family, it's all of this, right?
Yeah.
It's the connections. Ultimately, why did Shane Bieber stay in Toronto? A big reason why was because his wife and him fell in love with baseball again. They left lots of money on the table, tons of money on the table, actually. And yet it came down to the fact that him and his family connected over how awesome this place was. And that's the type of shit that we're at right now. It's not dollars and cents. It's not longevity. It's that. And that's scary to me because Toronto doesn't have any control in this.
I know. It's all down to his preference. It's like, you're at a restaurant and it's like, what the fuck do I want? It all looks so damn good. I don't know what I want. It's all good. It's all appetizing.
Do I want the lobster? What do I want? What am I in the mood? They're both really nice.
Yeah, maybe I'm just going for the apps tonight. I don't know. It all depends on what he wants. That's essentially it. And we're just here along for the ride. With the world.
Which is why I'm getting closer to a 50-50.
You're right. Because if you were really leaning like steak, you think you'd be like, all right, steak.
Unless the lobster's a great deal.
Unless it's like,
it's an overwhelming deal.
It's a buy one, get one free.
If it's not about the money anymore, and if the money is inconsequential, if the money is looking like roughly the same, then I'm going to go steak.
Yeah.
Because that's what I wanted coming in.
That's what I wanted coming in, but there was a big discount on the lobster.
Unless there was a big discount.
And I never really tried the lobster for a while. I haven't had lobster in a couple of years. I kind of want to try some lobster.
Could be the case. Again.
It could be the case.
This is why, I'm getting a little bit more nervous. Like Scott said, a week ago, I was really thinking that we were the ones, and I keep trying to replay that in my head right now.
Yes. And still remind ourselves that what we believe in is that the Mets are being used as leverage, hopefully, and the Blue Jays are still slightly favored this entire time.
And ultimately, it's always steak. Lobster's awesome,
exactly.
but it is always steak.
You always get steak.
Let's take a couple more questions before we sign off for the evening. It is starting to feel likelier that this is going to be a tomorrow thing as we get to 8:32. Crazier things have happened. I think, wasn't it Bregman that signed at it was 11 p.m. or something like that.
It was during the Packers game.
It was during the Packers game because I didn't give a fuck. I was immediate. I was watching. I was like, I can't handle this right now. So it was during the Green Bay Packers game, and it was late in the. It was in the second half at some point, so it was definitely later in the evening. But it is starting to feel, at least, that this is going to be a tomorrow thing.
Yeah, and we'll probably, this is a little sidebar for you guys. We always set up our set every single time. Probably just leave it
It's going to be a left. It will be left.
It could happen at any freaking moment, so I don't want to be taking any time to set it up. We'll leave it right here. But we got a question here.
And a donation. Currently from Doug Savona, $5 donation, saying, I'm sorry I'm coming in late. Did he make his decision yet?
No.
Apparently not. There's no decision yet. Steve Cohen has no idea. He's making references to the Pope. Everybody is on Twitter, just refreshing. Do you think that Steve Cohen finds out before Jeff does?
Yeah.
He's got it, right?
Yeah, he's got to. I think he would.
He has to.
He would have to do the due diligence to turn down.
Can you imagine? Could you imagine if Steve Cohen's actually just refreshing Twitter to be like, "Did we get him?"
That'd be hilarious. Yeah. I mean, we don't. I don't know. Again, how much was he involved in the actual negotiations? Is it just gonna be David Stearns that knows? I don't know. We don't know this stuff.
Right. Yeah. No, that's a stupid question by me. He's got it. He's got to know.
He's got to know.
Hot Take Hockey. Shout out to him, guys. If you're a big hockey fan in any capacity, highly recommend you go check out what he does over there. It is really good stuff. He says, "Let's get to 50,000 subscribers. If you haven't already done so, please hit that like, smash the the subscribe button. We do appreciate it. This is a growing community, best community on the goddamn internet. And once the season starts, we're going to be full go, giving you everything. Even now, we're giving you full go, giving you everything.
Yeah.
But definitely once the season starts.
Yeah, like if you guys are around for that postseason, I know we got a lot of new fans during that postseason. Like we almost got like 8,000 new of you guys. So like if you're here from there, I mean, you know the drill. We're going to be doing the live streams like we always do, hanging out with you guys every single day, every single week. So be tuning in. We also got another dono here from Peter with a $5 dono saying, I'm chatting from the future. Oh, shout out. This guy's, from the future. Let's go. Tucker is signing in 40 minutes.
Bro,
your time.
I love that he said 40 minutes from now and is going to bait me because he didn't tell me who he was signing with.
Uh-oh. We're going to have to wait.
You bastard.
Why would you do that?
Why would you do that?
Oh, my God.
I need to know where he's signing if you're from the future, guy.
I know.
Thank you for the donation, though. We do appreciate you. And also, just in the nick of time, $2 donation saying Tucker or Bichette. It's
always
Tucker.
Been Tucker,
it's
my
always
man.
been Tucker. Bo is awesome. I would not be angry if they got Bo back. Tucker, greater sign.
It's Tucker.
Bichette.
I mean, it's the same reason why the Blue Jays are prioritizing him. He's just a better player.
He is the more complete player. That's
right?
the idea. And Muggsy, donations
go.
going in like crazy. Thank you so much, guys. The support is insane.
Yeah.
If Tucker signed to Toronto, what do you guys think that deal will look like?
Well,
do we have a question that relates to this?
Kinda, actually.
Okay.
I think. Well, here we go. Let's get Mr. Bloopy in here with his question, saying with the report 4 for 50 from the offer from the Mets, how would the Jays need to counter that offer with a 10-year contract? Do they load it at the front of the contract to make it closer to the 4-year offer from the Mets, or do they keep the high average throughout the whole contract? Good question. Well, we were kind of floating around with that idea. That's like, okay, well, if they're going to offer 50 for the first 4 years, just do that. But then you're right. If it's a 10-year deal, like, okay, let's say it's $400 million. Like you're willing to go that. You're gonna spread that 200 over 6 years. What's that? Quick math: 33 per year. I mean, that kind of would make sense, right? That would kind of make a little bit of sense.
Sorry, 33 a year.
Yeah,
for what?
So it's like, again,
that.
you front load it, right? With like what he's saying right here, 50 for the first 4 years. Let's say it's a $400 million contract. So you throw that first 200 in the first 4 years. Then the last 6 years of the 10-year contract is that you got to pay for the remaining 200. So it'd be 33 million, 3 for the rest of the contract. I
suppose so.
Which would make sense.
It's difficult to think about how, like, it's tough to project exactly how they would want to structure a deal like this because there could be any number of ways that they go about doing things. Ultimately, I think that to rival the 450 or the 4 times 50 that the Mets are doing, I think that a really reasonable rival offer would be 350 for 10 years or for effectively as long as you want to make it. If 350, 8 years, 350, 9 years, if you get to the 350 mark, I think that it gives him something to think about. I think that if you go over that, I'm thinking it's overwhelmingly you have to take that.
Because why wouldn't you take the thing that I just threw out? Like
exactly.
And also, too, I think what you also got to throw in here, and we've seen this with Juan Soto, is throw in a player option after what would be his hitting free agency. Okay, you want to keep that idea of maybe I could hit free agency. Okay, we'll give you the $200 million. We'll give you exactly what the Mets are doing, but we'll give you an opportunity if you suck to go and just take the money. You know what I mean?
That could also be true,
less.
and that would definitely make things a lot more tantalizing for him because that effectively takes all the leverage out from New York. Which is,
exactly.
Hey, I mean,
gone.
like, I want you want the short-term deal so you can go again. There it is. Yeah. If you get injured or things aren't going your way, here's the long-term deal as well. You get best of both worlds. That could be the way they want to structure it.
Which makes me think that's not what it is because he would have smashed that already, I feel like.
Exactly.
So if it's got to be something like, 40 million AAV, and then maybe, if they had a player option, it would be a lot less. So the overall would be like 350. Like it wouldn't be the 50 AAV per year. So.
Now Jason comes in here with a $5 donation and says, let's talk about how good Jays will be as is. I'm looking forward to Okamoto. We were talking a little bit about that with Scott. I agree with you, Okamoto. Everyone initially said floor. He's got an extremely high floor, which I do think is true. He was extremely consistent over there in the NPB, and he's got some really good skills that can translate to MLB. However, I do think that there's also a ceiling there as well. He hit 40 bombs relatively consistently in NPB, definitely high 30s a lot
Yeah.
And on top of all of that, has incredible contact and just can do a lot of good stuff in the prime of his career. So I'm really excited for Okamoto. The one thing I hope is that he's going to get a lot of playing time, because they were talking about him as being a utility man. I want to see that utility man a lot of the time. I don't want it to turn into a I'm on the bench for half of the series and I come in for half of the series. So I definitely hope that he gets his time, because he's going to need his opportunities to get in rhythm with MLB. It almost feels irresponsible to not give him that, because that'd be really tough to adjust whilst you're also on the bench.
Right.
But I'm definitely high on him for sure.
Yeah, and I think, you know, Tucker does play a little bit of a factor in all this. If you get him, you know, is that going to cut into Okamoto's playing time? Because you got to play Addison Barger too. You're not going to waste that guy rotting on the bench. He's got to play a little bit of time, but you also need Anthony Santander to play. You invested a lot of money in him, so you're going to have one of Okamoto, Santander. You're not going to bench Kyle Tucker. Okamoto, Santander, or Barger. One of them's got to be sitting any given time.
Well,
you know,
and also it's not nice. I don't want to say it's nice, because it's not good, but it should also be noted that this will only be a problem for effectively the first 5 games of the season until somebody inevitably gets hurt, and then there will just be a continual rotation of I'm day to day, I'm on the IL, I need to. This is what happens in all sports. So I don't think that this problem will be a problem for very long, because that's just the way things go.
Well, that kind of answers it for me for William Abbott's question right here, saying, just thoughts on guys if we get Tucker, who's on the move, because we're also be too overcrowded. I've said this in a previous podcast. We've made so many podcasts during this offseason. I forget when we said this, but I was saying for that exact same reason. Someone's going to get hurt. You want to have depth. That's why you're bringing all these guys in. You want depth because, last year when Bo Bichette went down, we were lucky enough where we had guys kind of step up. But at the time, for September month, some guys didn't. And the offense really struggled. Now, feels like if one of these guys go down, you're going to replace them with a quality player.
Exactly. And having quality players as your B lineup, that's really nice, because everybody's going to deal with injuries, and various other teams are going to be starting AAA individuals that just don't deserve a spot. We're going to be starting Nathan Lucas, assuming we still have him on the team, because that's somebody who already is starting to look like playing time is gonna be limited. And if you get Kyle Tucker, no playing time until somebody gets hurt.
Miles Straw, no playing time.
Zero. It's there's just how do you fit it in with everybody that's coming?
That's how I know Miles Straw's a team player, man. This guy just come Kyle, take all my playing time, just because I know that you're gonna help us win a World Series.
Yeah,
it's that cool.
Joey Loperfido already not on the team.
Okay, that's one guy. If someone's knocking on the door, you can go. You can trade that. Nothing against Joey, but we're too. I got too much luxury over there. Shout out to Trepper FM with a $1 dono. Thank you, my man. Also, passing bomb tonight? ? Ask Ari Pie, or passing bomb at 1 a.m. That would suck, because I will actually be asleep.
Yeah, but weird,
that
dude.
Would suck.
Recently, there's been some late stuff coming out. You had the Bregman signing at, let's say it was 10:30. I forget when it was, but it was definitely late.
Saturday.
And then also last night, and this is a different sport, but it was midnight.
Oh yeah.
And John Harbaugh signs with the Giants as their new head coach.
Dude, I got an update during this stream that and I had the same thought. My Cardinals are interviewing defensive coordinator on the San Fran 49ers. I'm like, what? It's 8 o'clock.
I know.
Why are they doing it right now?
It's kind of wild, actually. And wow, a massive donation coming in right here from the right field. I can't actually see your full name right here.
The right field pavilion
with a $50 dono.
Bro, the right field pavilion was popping off. I'm pretty sure in Game 7 or Game 6 of the World Series. It was just popping off with the donos. Shout out to you. Thank you.
Yeah, we actually haven't erased any of the names from the Game 7 World Series stream. So
you guys can see
it's so very possible. It's a lot of names up there. It's very possible that you might also, if you donated during that stream, you would still be up there.
Wow.
But he says, or they say, as a Dodgers fan, I want to see a Dodgers/Blue Jays 2026 World Series rematch. I respect the Blue Jays, and if the Dodgers get back into the World Series for a third year in a row, I want the Dodgers to face the best in the American League. Good luck in 2026. Same to you.
Respect.
And even though it was not a nice feeling the following day. Baseball won that series. Baseball won that series because it was so back and forth and one of the more exciting Game 7s in recent history for sure.
Yeah, like, again, maybe it's because we live in Toronto and Canada, but like I haven't heard so many of people around me that don't watch baseball talk about the Blue Jays even after the World Series. Like, that's how much of an impact it made. It made fans for life. So, yes, it was a great win for baseball. Thank you for the donation. We really do appreciate it. And respect from coming over from the Dodgers. Now we got Ed Flood with a $2 dono saying, Mets fan here. Love the stream. If it's not LA, I'm okay. yeah. I mean, yeah, like, what would you rather have him go to, Mets or LA? I'd probably be Mets. I'd probably want him to go to Mets.
I'm sorry, Pavilion.
Sorry, Pavilion.
But it would have to be the New York Mets. Just simply because, I mean, we got to beat the Dodgers. Not saying that the Mets would honestly start to be rather scary as well. Like, offensively speaking, they're going to be I think the Mets are going to be a good team anyways, but they wouldn't beat the Dodgers because the Dodgers are at a stupid level. And if he goes to LA, I really don't even want to start thinking about what that lineup looks like. Like, what? Will Smith is batting 7th now. Freddie Freeman's batting 7th now. Like, what? Like, what the frick, man? This is stupid.
It's
at this
too
point.
much. It's too much.
So
you get it though, Pavilion.
I would prefer that he goes to the Mets if it had to be anybody other than Toronto. But it's gonna be really sad if it's not Toronto, just considering how closely tied we've been to all of this.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see, guys. But that, I believe, will conclude our live stream. We've been live for almost just over 2 hours right now.
Yep.
So we took our time. But nothing has happened so far. But again, if something happens, whether he signs with the Jays or doesn't, we will be live here on YouTube. Possibly if he's not even signed by tomorrow, we'll be doing some more live streams if things are coming out and things are getting really hyped. So don't go anywhere, everybody.
Make a choice, man.
Just hurry up, Kyle.
Make a choice.
Just make your choice. Start planning your birthday bash. Take all Friday planning your birthday bash.
Yeah.
And party.
And dude, regardless of where you pick, I would sign tonight or tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
And then I'm booking the private jet and getting all of my closest friends and family, and we're gonna go party in that city for my birthday.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that would be right. You have the money to do. I'm taking everybody, and we're going to Toronto, and we're hitting King Street up, and we're going crazy.
See, yeah, like I would do that. I don't know if Kyle would. He's pretty low key apparently.
Pretty low key,
but I would. I'd be like, yo, Jays fans, I'm gonna be right here. Come party with me. But guys, that's the end of the stream. Thank you to everyone who was tuning in and watching. We appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you next time, guys.
We will be here whenever it happens. Thanks so much for watching. Hit that like, smash that subscribe button, and as always,